Hi, my name is Cathrine Bomann and Cathrine Bomann, and I'm here to talk to you about my new novel Blue Notes, which is coming out soon. So I have the Danish version here actually, and it's been translated into English by the amazing Caroline Waight, who also translated my debut novel Agatha, and that was also published by Bookhug Press, just as Blue Notes will be. So I'm very excited about that, of course. And if I should just tell you a bit about why I wrote this novel, the motivation behind it, then I should say that I'm a psychologist, and the initial idea for the book actually came when I heard about a new diagnosis which was coming. So as I'm sitting here, it is being implemented or has been implemented in diagnostic manuals all over the world. So it's a grief diagnosis which has been accepted or decided or whatever by the World Health Organization, and is now being, as I said, introduced into our manuals. So it's prolonged grief disorder is going to become a mental illness, just like depression or OCD or other mental illnesses like that. So that was interesting to me and made me ask several questions, like where do we actually draw the line between normal, whatever that is, existential pain, the totally normal pain that you will feel when someone that you love is dying or passes away, and mental illness, and what happens to our view on mourning and grief when we introduce a diagnosis like this. Will we begin to think that people should just get on with it, get over it fast, or else they're sick, or they should seek treatment, or will it perhaps help, as it's intended to do, of course, help people who otherwise struggle to find the care that they need, and provide them with an actual name for what they're struggling with, and a diagnosis, and perhaps even a cure or a treatment. So there are lots of perspectives on this, of course, and it just made me wonder, and that was the starting point. And then I began writing. So that was a bit about the background, and I'll tell you a bit about the plot, I think, now. So in the novel we meet four main characters. We have Elizabeth, who loses her son quite early in the novel, and goes on to create the world's first medicine for grief, so a pill for grief. And then we have Torsten, who's a psychology professor working at the university, and he's involved in a group doing some research on this new drug before it's being released to the market. So he's looking into it, looking at possible side effects and trying to understand how it's working in the brain. And he gets this feeling that something's off, that someone might be tampering with the numbers, trying to hide a terrible side effect, basically. So that's him. And then we have his two students, so that's Anna and Shadi, and two quite different young women. And Anna has recently lost her mother, and Shadi is great with numbers and precision, things like that, not so great with people, making friends. And they're both writing their final thesis on grief on the same psychology department that Torsten is working at. So he becomes their supervisor, and these three people become the group that we as readers follow as they try to figure out what is the deal with this new drug. Has someone done something to hide a terrible side effect, and will they be able to reveal this in time before the drug gets out to the public? So so that's the basic idea for the book. Right, so I think I'll end by reading a bit, but before I do that, I'll just let you know that if you find this interesting, you can order the book Blue Notes, and you can do that in independent bookstores, or you can do it via Book Hug Press themselves, and it would be fantastic if you wanted to do that. Right, so I'll just finish by reading a small piece. It's from page 17, I think, of the novel, so it's quite early, and we meet here Elizabeth, the woman I told you about, who has lost her son Winter, and a few weeks have passed when we meet her here. Okay. Little by little she began to roam the house. She forced herself to pause beside the toys in the box, Winter's chair at the kitchen table, and the plastic mat in the living room where he'd loved to sit and draw. At night she went to bed early with her iPad switched on. Winter's duvet, in which she lived and breathed, stopped smelling of him in the end. She'd worn it out. One Sunday evening, the first month had passed. The earth on the grave had begun to sink. Rain and wind had buffeted the stone, which was no longer the newest in the churchyard. "Come on," she said to Nala, who didn't want to jump down off the bed at first. "There we go, come on, we're leaving now." And with gentle hands, she removed the bedclothes, folded her son's duvet, turned the heating down low, and locked the door behind her. A fallow deer ran through the garden that night. Elizabeth was standing by the garbage can when she heard it, having just thrown out the bedding. A rumbling, alien noise that was muffled by the grass. The animal stopped maybe 10 meters from her. It stood there in the twilight with its head half turned away. It seemed to her she could hear it breathing. Neither of them moved. "My little boy is dead," she thought, "and I have condemned myself to keep living." Perhaps she was the first to stir, she wasn't sure, but abruptly the animal lurched into motion, flung itself sidelong, and careened away toward the forest. Yeah, so that was it, and that's it for me as well. So thank you for listening, and I'd love it if you wanted to read Blue Notes when it comes out. Thank you. Bye.